if we look at question 3.2, in question 3.2, Miss Wang is explaining to her class how I can simplify exponents by using the number 1. And she wrote the following steps. So she started out with x times y to the 8th divided by y to the 2nd. She broke this up as x divided by 1. And she took this y to the 8th and she made y to the 8th equal to y to the 6th times y to the 2nd, which it is. And the reason she did that is we should see right in between these steps right here, because she writes this out as x divided by 1 multiplied by y divided by 2. And then there's still that y divided by 2 on the bottom, divided by y. So I have x times y to the 2nd times y to the 6th, which does equal the top that we had up here. And on the bottom, we have y to the 2nd. But what's really nice about this right here is that I know that anything divided by itself equals 1. That's how she gets from this step, from step 2 to step 3. So you see how she changes the y squared divided by y squared to 1. Then she just multiplies straight across. Then she has x times y to the 6th on top divided by 1. And dividing by 1 doesn't change anything. So that's how she gets x times y to the 6th as her answer. All right, we're going to go through 3 examples of this in this video. So we'll do 1, 2, and 3. I would always start these by writing them out. So I have x times x divided by x. That's 1 here. And if I know I have something on the bottom and something on the top, I can divide them to be 1. So here, those divide out to be 1. And I am left with x times x, which is equal to x squared. So that is how I complete number 1. If we do number 2, write this out, I should have 5 x's on top and 2 x's on the bottom. So I have x to the 5th on top, x squared on bottom. So that's 5 x's on top, 2 x's on bottom. I can do the same thing where anything divided by itself equals 1. So I'm left with 1's on the bottom, and I have x times x times x, or x to the 3rd on top. So problem 2 will be x to the 3rd. And if we look at problem 3, I have x squared. So x squared can be written as x times x times x to the 3rd. So that is x, x, and x. Since my bases here, my base value, remember we talked about base in the beginning, are all x's, what I can do is I can write this out as x to the 5th. So that's how I can simplify 3. It's going to be x to the 5th there. All right, what I want you guys to do is please practice this by doing problems 4 and 5. Please practice doing problems 4 and 5. So pause the video and give those an honest attempt. All right, problem 4 is listed up here. I took k to the 3rd, wrote it out as k, k, k. And I took k to the 5th and wrote it out as k times k times k times k. So I have a total of 8 k's multiplied here. So I have k is the base and the exponent is 8. So k to the 8th power would be there. In number 5, I wrote out number 5, 16 times k times k times k divided by 8 times k times k. Now, if I look, I know I'll start with this. I know 16 divided by 8. I can simplify that to 2 divided by 1. The 16 divided by 8 is equal to 2. Then I take my k's that are left, can cancel out 2k's on top, 2k's on bottom. So I have 2k on top and a 1 on the bottom, or just 2k. And that is what your answer would be for 5. All right, we'll do a couple more practice problems on simplifying expressions as in this video. We'll do A, B, and C here. A, B, and C. So, well, actually, we've done a lot like A, we've done a lot like B, but let's do C. Let's do C here, where I have it, and I have x times x, that is x squared, and I have 4 groups of those. So I write out 4 separate groups of x times x. And then if I count up the amount of x's I have, I should get that to be x to the 8th. Should get that to be x to the 8th. And let's also do f here. I think f's a good looking one. So f here, I have x times x, that's x squared, divided by y. And what I do is I have 3 groups of those. I have 3 groups of those. So I have x times x divided by y, and x times x divided by y. When I'm looking here, you might be wondering, why can't we cancel out the x's and y's and divide them equal 1? We can only do that if they have the same base. X and y are not the same base here. So I can count up the amount of x's I have on top, and I have a total of 6 x's on top. Count up the number of y's I have on the bottom, and I have y to the 3rd. So I have x to the 6th divided by y to the 3rd. And that is how we simplify exponential expressions. We will continue working on this throughout the chapter.